So I would like to do the ticket booth first because that is going to need more attention and we got the energy now and I'm going to need your guys' help with this one because I did watch the movie twice, but it was like chopped up. Okay. I watched the first half, and then I fell asleep and then I watched the second half when I woke up and then I watched it again the next day.
And the second half is just the shoot 'em up.
Yeah.
If you separate it like in the middle.
Yeah, absolutely.
The first hour's build up, the second hour is just like an action scene in slow motion.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So let's go to the ticket booth. Here we are at the booth buying tickets even though it's on Netflix. So we are talking about The Harder They Fall from 2021. It's directed by James Samuel, and it's written by James Samuel, and I don't even know how to pronounce this guy's name. Is it Boaz Yakin or Boaz Yakin? Boazyakin. So I'm sorry, Boaz or Boaz, whatever your name is. Like, I'm butchering it. And it's about when an outlaw discovers that his enemy is being released from prison, he reunites with his gang to seek revenge. This is James Samuel's first time in the director's seat for a movie. And he's Seal's brother. I was talking to Nick about this. A Kiss from a Rose.
Baby!
Oh, shit. It's Seal's brother?
It's Seal's brother. I'm pretty sure. I read that on IMDb.
Wow,
so
okay. Huh.
It's got to be true.
Huh.
And but he's mostly just worked on the music department in most of the movies he's ever been in, and that's why.
But this is his first directing
movie,
wow.
and I think I was talking to
Way
Nick about
more
this
respect
yesterday.
for him,
We have very different feelings about the music.
Yeah, well, it's like you can tell that it's his first directorial debut or whatever. In the same way that you can tell House of a Thousand Corpses was Rob Zombie's first directing, thing or whatever, and it's because a lot of shots in this movie are experimental and different and not safe. And you only really get that out of people that are like finally in the director's seat. They're like, now's my time.
I can do whatever the fuck I want, man.
So he's mostly, like I said, worked in the music department for most of the movies he's been on. And you can tell because this movie is very musical. Or music is the backbone of this movie. Not the backbone, but it's like definitely a big hunk of the flavor comes from the music in it. And I
feel like the music of any Western should be a big chunk of the flavor because it's all dialogue and gaps or beats in the dialogue, and that's when you need those musical stings to come in and fill the silence.
Yeah, because of the standoffs, Good and the Bad and the Ugly. Without the music intact, it's nothing. It's something, but it's not what it is without the music.
Quick question.
Absolutely.
Out of the three of us, who's the good, who's the bad, who's the ugly? Ooh, yeah.
I'd say I'm probably the good.
Yeah, you think you're the good?
Probably the good.
Think you're the fucking good?
I'm the fucking... I'm... I might be... I don't know.
Am I the bad?
I know James ain't ugly.
Am I the bad?
I don't know because
am I the ugly?
I don't know. Maybe I don't know. We'd have to.
I can't be the
talk
ugly
about this because I feel like this goes to some deeper shit. You'd have to.
See, I've been saying Nick is the ugly just based on his hat that he's wearing today. He's got the dustiest cowboy look out of all of us right now. So I'm not like that his appearance is ugly, but like
no, actually, you know what?
The vibe.
I'd rather be bad than ugly.
I just got a text from Tori upstairs.
I dress for the theme.
Ugly. Stop listening to us.
I don't know, man. Like how
if you are, watch it live online. Give us a friggin' view.
Mom, I'm recording a podcast down here. Damn it!
I don't even know. Like, yeah, we'd have. That's a deeper conversation we'd have to have for another.
You know what? We'll let the subscribers decide.
Subscribers, tell us of the three of us, who is the good and the bad and the ugly?
That's right. So, Boaz Yakin has directed Remember the Titans and written the screenplay for Now You See Me and Prince of Persia, Sands of Time. One of those was okay, one of those was not.
Okay, first of all, I hate sports movies, so I would never guess the same director was behind a sports movie, such as Remember the Titans.
Sure.
I'm sorry, but no thank you.
And especially the dude doing Remember the Titans help writing this movie?
But I'll tell you what, though, I did see Remember the Titans, and it was good.
I did too.
It was good.
Yeah.
It was a good movie. You know,
Because you and me
Denzel.
like art, James.
You know what?
I just don't like sports. It's not against art.
I don't either. But you know what's a weird thing about this? His name isn't Denzel. It's Denzel.
It's Denzel?
Denzel Washington. It's not Denzel.
Oh, shut the fuck up.
Actually, it's Denzel.
Oh, no, is it really?
Yeah.
Fucking wrong,
It's not
Larry.
like Spider-Man. It's not Denzel. What the fuck,
He
dude?
said it himself in live TV. He was like, "It's Denzel." He said
Maybe he was drunk.
okay.
Or maybe he's fucking with us. But yeah, and Prince of Persia: Sands of Time, which I didn't see because video game movies back then are all awful.
Yeah.
Anyway, our cast for the movie, we have Jonathan Majors playing our main character. What's his name? It's something Love.
Nathan
Nat
Love.
Love.
Nat Love.
This is the Nat Love gang. And he's fucking awesome. He was the main character in Lovecraft Country, which is one of my first YouTube reviews I ever did on another channel. And I loved it. So, of course, I think it's great. And he was also in Ant-Man Quantumania. He's our new Kang the Conqueror, which I saw the other day. I took my kid to the movies and we saw it, and I thought it was pretty good.
He's a great actor. I mean, everything that I've seen him in so far, he's always brought it. You know, and he's fantastic.
Dude, I'll never forget. There's one scene in Lovecraft Country that gets me, and it's like the main character's dad is like a closet gay guy, and so drunkenly he stumbles to like the one gay guy in town's house that he has like intermediate relations with here and there. And like he walks in the door and it's obvious they're about to bang, and he turns the dude around and they shoot him spitting into his hand, and it's just like, it wasn't just like a little whatever. This was like a fucking fountain of saliva. It was like and you like splashed like a raindrop when it hit his fucking
Jesus
hand.
Christ! I had to rewatch
Oh,
again
dude.
because now
I just remember watching that scene and going, like, oh my god, like
floppy Luger.
oh, dude, it was super gross. But anyway, Jonathan Majors, phenomenal. Zazie Beetz is in this one. She was
Zazie
in
Beetz is
Deadpool
great.
2 and Joker and Bullet Train. She was the what was it? The Wasp in Bullet Train? Is that what she was called?
The
Hornet?
Venom
The
one?
Hornet.
The
Yeah,
poison?
the Hornet.
Yeah,
Chick?
the poison one. And we have R.J. Seiler, I believe his name was. He was our new Blue Ranger in the Power Rangers reboot and was in the Swamp Thing series. Edie Gathegi, I believe that's how you pronounce his name, who is in X-Men First Class. He probably hates that I'm referring to that movie as the one thing. And Regina King, who I was most excited to see in this movie. She's from Friday. She does the voice of Huey and Riley Freeman on the Boondocks. She was in the Watchmen reboot on HBO recently.
Was she Gertrude or
Yeah,
Trudy?
she was Trudy, yeah. Terrible Trudy or
Terrible
whatever.
Trudy, yeah.
Fuck, my favorite character in the
Treacherous
whole
Trudy.
movie. Yeah. Or they make a joke about her having a couple different names
Yeah,
or whatever.
yeah.
And then we have Idris Elba, who's I put down fucking everything because he's in everything, and that's fine because I think he's fantastic.
He's fucking great. You can't rock.
Real quick before we dive into the guts, who's y'all favorite character?
Oh, because that's the one redeeming thing about this movie for me is that all the characters were really cool.
Indeed.
I really like, it's either Terrible Trudy, Gertrude, whatever her name is, Regina King's character, or Cherokee Bill. Cherokee Bill was sweet.
Cherokee Bill was the guy that shot him. The bad guy that was.
He was with the bad guy gang.
But he was the guy that everybody said you shot him in the back, and then he shot that one guy in the back.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, he was great. I did like him, especially his outfit towards the end. Nick, you can relate.
I did. He had sick drip. I will give him that.
He had he had fucking good. Yeah, he dressed good, and I think that was kind of helped him.
Yeah. How about you, Nick?
I thought all characters were absolutely fantastic. You normally in any movie you only have a few kind of cool characters. This movie, I felt like all the characters were very cool, had their own things going on. But I'd say my favorite was Flashy Gem or Pretty Face or
The
Sweet Gem.
gunslinger on the
The one that was like shiny gets you killed,
The love
and he ended up
one,
getting
yeah.
killed because he's too tricky.
Tricks. Yeah,
And
his tricks, so we're gonna get him killed. Yeah,
No, he was fun.
yeah, because he got killed by Cherokee Bill.
But there's a funny moment with him in the beginning. I was talking with Nick about this yesterday. Like when they stopped the Crimson Hood gang in the beginning, and he's talking to like one of the bad guys, and he's like, oh fuck him, fuck Jim, he's an asshole. He's like, I'm not an asshole, I'm sweet. You're not sweet, I'm sweet. You're not sweet, bitch. I'm sweet. I'm like, oh, that's fun opening in the movie.
Or the whole like Crimson Hood gang, more like looking like the Pink Hood gang now.
Yeah, it's like they pink now.
Yeah.
The motherfuckers are pink now. Yeah.
How about you, James? Who is your favorite character?
Cherokee Bill, man.
Yeah.
He was such a cutthroat, ruthless dude.
And he's just smooth.
He's smooth.
Yeah.
And I liked his outfit at the end.
Yeah,
With the blue fucking
Yeah.
squirt. It was just good, man.
It
He
was
got
sharp.
he got a fucking good, great character all around.
Yeah.
But I mean, all of them were fucking fantastic and well played. But he was kind of a bit of a stick out for me.
Okay, that's fair. Like I said, it was either him or Trudy for me, Regina King's character. So, the plot of this movie, we're going to do it real quick because not a lot goes on in this movie.
No,
but it's stretched out for 2 hours somehow.
Yeah, it's a whole lot of build up and a whole lot of action.
The plot of this movie, it starts out with it's Nat Love and his family. He's a child and they're sitting around having dinner and bad guys show up at the door. One of them's got a scorpion hand and the other one we see. Do we see that it's Idris Elba?
We don't see that it's Idris Elba, but homeboy with the scorpion tattoo on his hand comes down and he pins young
Nat Love.
Nat Love's shoulders down so he can't move.
Right, and so go ahead.
Also note that his dad is a preacher. I
Right.
think.
Yeah.
And so like Idris Elba's character comes in and basically does his thing.
You know what's gonna happen. He's coming to kill them, whatever, blah blah blah, and that's what he does.
It's ugly.
He shoots the dad. He shoots the mom. Then he shoots the dad, and then he takes out a razor and carves something into the little kid's head, and then we get our cut into the credits, I believe.
Yes.
And starts my main problem with this movie. I was talking with Nick about the music. Because I was prepared after all this time and letting Nick pick a fucking movie, and he said that it was a Western. I'm like, all right, I'm preparing myself for a fucking Western. You know, like a true blue Western. And it's cool, it's got these characters, and it's a black Western.
But it's
I like,
not a...
so the music starts, and it's all hip-hop. Which is fine. I like hip-hop, I like rap, whatever. But it's like, it pulls me out of the movie. When I'm watching cowboys on horseback race across the plains and a song in the background's going, saddles, spurs, tumbleweed.
Yeah.
I'm like...
You might as well have metal in there.
Yeah, right.
It's...
And I think if they had an original score in this movie, it could have hit so much harder because I looked at this movie almost like a League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. And I was trying to explain this to Nick. I'm like, the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, even though they're all fictional characters, imagine if they were all real characters and they teamed up and became the Avengers.
It's like a supergroup.
Right, and that's kind of like what we got going on here. These are all real people in a fantastical setting. We could have had, it's almost like a comic book, that all of these characters would just so happen to meet.
Yeah, for a sole purpose.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I was prepared for, and the music pulled me out constantly. Some songs were bangers, and they had a great presence on the scene. Like anytime there was a choir going with traditional Western music, I'm like, ooh, this scene hits good. Yeah. But then when like the modern music hops in, it's like it pulls me right out every single time.
I thought you had a really nice mix of things kind of almost taking you out based on the genre and your expectations, but then how like reggae or hip hop merged mid-song, mid-scene into more of that twangy kind of shit.
It almost had like a Tarantino-esque kind of vibe because of that. It was trying to mix like traditional with modern stuff to make it kind of quirky and weird. But yeah, that's what I didn't care for about this movie. Basically, in the gist of it is that the music constantly pulled me out. So the credits roll and we have sometime later, we get these throughout the movie where it's just text across the screen. It's like sometime later, this much time later, whatever. And, Nat Love is grown up and he's found one of the people that was there when his parents died, the dude with the scorpion tattoo.
He's waiting in the church for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he,
because he's become a
man looking for a scorpion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he's become a pastor now.
Yeah, and so he comes to collect his fee and he sees that homeboy has a cross carved onto his head.
Right.
And then he realizes who he is.
It's the kid.
It's the kid.
Yeah.
Jonathan Majors has a cross carved onto his forehead.
Sorry, ruined the
Yeah, we just saw him. It's all right. But yeah, we know that it's Jonathan Majors and it's Nat Love, and he kills the guy because he's killing everyone that was there that killed his family one by one, and it's when we get our title card. The harder they
That
fall.
was fun.
Yeah, for like each shot or whatever.
The dude goes airborne, I think, on the second shot. Like, he blows him out of his fucking, like, off of his feet, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
And so after that, we get a cut to the Nat Love gang basically robbing a group of other cowboys or whatever, bandits. And that's what they do. That's their thing. They don't rob banks. They rob people that rob banks.
Right.
And after it's all said and done, they find out that the money they stole is actually, what's the dude's name? Idris Elba's character. Rufus Buck is
Rufus
his name.
Buck, okay.
They find out it's Rufus Buck's money, and Rufus Buck is like the baddest baddie of the West. Everyone's afraid of him, as they should, because it's Idris Elba.
That breakout scene. Awesome.
Oh, yeah. So they find out it's his money and that they're going to regret it. And then we go to our next scene, which is a breakout scene. And that's where we see a train moving. And then we see the most badass fucking Regina King sitting on her horse right on the fucking tracks.
Bad bitch.
Oh, dude, what an awesome cut that is. If I could get that just as a picture and frame it, it's fucking
With her
beautiful.
on the tracks, yeah. That was great.
And so she makes the train stop on the tracks. And this is Rufus Buck's gang, and they're basically breaking him out because he's in the last
car of the train.
Yeah.
So when they get on there, like, it's filled with nothing but white people. Mm-hmm. So they just have all the contempt. They're just like, they head all the way to the back and confront him. And my boy, Cherokee Bill makes short work of one of the soldiers by just slashing the shit out of him.
One of the scenes I loved right before that is they get to the last cart where the young soldier is, and he's like, look, you're going to put that gun down or we're going to shoot all these people. And Cherokee Bill is standing in the middle of the shot, then all the arms sprawl out with the guns. Yes. So there's like 8 arms reaching out. It was fucking
That was a great
awesome.
shot, yeah.
And so, yeah, they move on to the next cart, and Cherokee Bill is a smart dude. He weasels his way in by using the captain's son as a soldier, as a decoy, basically. And they get in there, they fuck everyone up, and they break out Rufus. And Rufus and his gang go back to the town that was kind of their, like, home base or whatever. And he reestablishes power, basically. And, God, do they... So Nat Love finds out, and he's like, oh, well, we're going to go kill Rufus Buck. He's the last guy on my list, So he gets his gang together to go get Rufus. And they get captured? I know that Stagecoach
Mary, who's played by Zazie Beetz, awesome.
Who is Nat Love's love interest in this movie.
She did a great job, too.
She was awesome.
Fucking great.
Cool character.
Awesome, great. She goes out to Redwood, which is where he's,
the home base of the bad guy gang.
And to kind of get the lay of the land, but she gets captured.
Right.
So obviously, homeboy who got chased out with the gold teeth.
That was holding the spot before.
He basically kind of he's basically running the place before Idris Elba
he was just a stand-in.
Yeah,
he was a stand-in and he got kicked out and he's upset about it. So he teams up with the Nat Love gang to like help them or whatever.
And the operation it's not the smoothest.
No, it's not the smoothest, but they find out, like, Nat Love goes in there, and he's talking to Rufus Buck. They finally confront each other, and he's like, if you want Stagecoach Mary back, you're gonna have to give me the money back that you owe me, and then an additional $10,000. You're gonna have to go rob a bank and bring it back, and we'll all be good.
And he gives him the razor, to which that he used to cut the cross into his forehead.
Right.
It's kind of like a little keepsake, I guess.
Right. A weird keepsake, but...
Yeah, I mean, I would be pretty pissed off if my friggin'...
Oh, you're an asshole.
Yeah.
So then, the only way to raise that money is they need to rob a bank. Yeah. So they go to a white town.
Right.
And for the first time in the movie, it looks like a traditional Western.
Right.
But even drabber. Everything is mayonnaise white.
Everything's mayonnaise white as fuck. fuck.
See, I thought it was not drab. I thought it was brighter intentionally.
Yeah, see,
You know, like everything was like, oh, this is the white town.
Yeah.
You know, like
It
everything's glowing.
Yeah,
almost.
it was very like antiseptic.
Right.
Like it was completely colorless.
Bleached.
Sterile.
Right. Because you look at like, Red Town, everything is popping with color.
Yeah.
Like, it was like pinks and blues and
Right.
shit like
Red
rich
would be
colors.
popping.
It even says like when they first show the exterior shot of the town, it says like the name of
It's
the
a
town.
white town.
Yeah, it's a white town. Yeah, and it's
yeah.
all in white text,
Yeah.
you know?
So the artistic decision was definitely in play there as well.
Right.
With the color scheme.
Which is like one of the things I love about this movie is like
It
I
was a
said,
fun gag.
Yeah. It's just like little stuff like that that breaks up the Western aspect of it that make it fun.
While still keeping it almost even reverting back to a more traditional form of Western.
Sure.
Because most cowboys were black.
Yeah. Well, it's the whole point of this movie. I saw on like the IMDb facts. It's like the whole point of this movie is that like 1 in every 4 cowboys was black, and they wanted to represent that basically. And so they rob this bank, and they get the money, and they make this plan. You know, right? They're gonna give the money back to Rufus, but they have something up their sleeve. And we get to basically the second half of the movie, which is, as Nick says, our
Shootout.
a long drawn out
An
shootout.
action scene
mad
in
about it.
slow motion.
Action scene in slow motion. So they basically set it up like they're gonna give Rufus the money, and then they blow it up in his face as like a big fuck you. And then the big fight happens. We see Stagecoach fighting Trudy. We see the guy. He's like their sniper up on the rooftops, popping people. The gunslinger guy. What's his name? It was Nick's favorite character.
Pretty Face Jim.
Pretty Face Jim
Pretty Face Jim, yeah.
goes up to fight Cherokee Bill, and then Cherokee Bill does some shitty shit and kills him.
Cherokee Bill's such an asshole.
Just some disrespectful shit.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry, one of my favorite elements of this was it was a great movie all in all, but the outlaw teaming up with the law when the Marshal and Nat Love
Oh, yeah,
kind of
Yeah.
come together.
Yeah. That was cool.
Taking down a common enemy.
Who was that guy? Who was the actor who played that Marshal? He's awesome too, and he's been on a lot of fucking shit.
Oh, I don't.
I want to say he was in
know.
fucking Beastmaster.
Beastmaster.
Yeah, man.
Beastmaster.
I think he was. I think it was the same guy.
Next, you're gonna tell me he was in Kroll.
Right.
We've got to cover Kroll one day.
Ugh, gross.
Don't. What's wrong with you?
Fucking Kroll.
Kroll's a great movie.
Kroll or nothing, baby.
Basically comes down to Rufus Buck and Nat Love standoff at the very end. And how does that shootout go? I don't really remember. Like I said, I watched this in parts.
Long.
Rufus and who?
Rufus and Nat Love at the very end.
Well, he basically tells him, hey, he tells him the story of how Rufus tells him the story of his life. Mm-hmm. And when he does, it starts to kind of feel a little bit more familiar to Nat.
Okay.
And then Rufus tells him that, hey, my dad, he bolted, and I found him. And when
Thanks,
I found
your
him,
problems are now my problems, buddy.
yeah,
Like-
basically, it's just like he discloses that they're actually brothers, half brothers, and unfortunately for Nat, he doesn't take this very well.
Right.
He has kind of like a breakdown, but he still does what he has to do.
Yeah, he kills him, right?
Yeah, he does kill him.
Yeah.
But it's an emotional and it's in a powerful scene,
Right.
and I'm not gonna lie, it kind of made me just
Tear up a little bit.
But I'm kind of a mess, so don't gauge my reaction by what a normal person would, because
Yeah, because like I cry at everything, and that didn't really. I was like,
I cried as a youngling watching Mighty Joe Young at the part where the kid got stuck on top of the Ferris wheel. I was like, oh my god, I'd be scared shit. But real talk before we skip beyond the past, or beyond the scene where Trudy fights Stagecoach Mary, and the fact that it's in that barn where they do all the dyeing of the cloth, like, it almost felt symbolic. I don't know how Any black listeners, please chime in and tell me how this was symbolic. But
I was
it was
wondering
colorful,
about that too, because it did feel
and it
like
felt
it was,
like it had a little oomph to it.
Nick's like, as a white guy, I think this means something.
No, there was because it was a color. There was color vats, and there was like the sheets with like the colored linen and stuff, and it was like, are they trying to make like a pride, like kind of?
You guys
here?
are reading way
I probably
too
was.
much into that.
I probably was, but it was a cool scene in the
Keep
colors.
your pride stuff out of my westerns, goddammit!
No, it's all
I'm just
good, but
kidding.
it was
I'm just
totally
kidding.
100%. It was like I felt like that's kind of where they were going with it, but it didn't make any sense. If
See,
that
I wasn't
There was
focused on
something
that.
under the surface.
Yeah,
Maybe I
yeah,
wasn't.
Maybe
I didn't have my thinking hat on.
I felt it and saw it the first time, and then I felt it again the second time around. I was like, there's something more significant underneath the surface that I know something's there, and I don't want to dive too deep, but at the same time, it's like, I know something's there.
I cannot
This
do
is more
this. I am not
significant
black.
than it
That's
is.
not my
I
place.
don't know that. I don't know what's going on. I'm just a white guy.
I thought about that too, but I thought that maybe it might have been just because it was a creative choice because the director liked color.
Well,
Obviously, he loved
as I
colors.
say all the time, everything is intentional. Everything in a shot is intentional.
And we could be reading too much into it, but I felt like they were trying to kind of send a message with all the colors in that regard.
Okay.
But I digress. That was an awesome fight scene.
I liked how gruesome it was that she just like Stagecoach Mary fucked up Gertrude. She just like punched her, or like what, she hit her across the face with something, and it was just
brutal.
like blood spray.
Yeah, she just hit her with the butt of the rifle because
Yeah.
that's like her basically her weapon of choice. You
Right.
know? Just poof, probably
So-
knocked some teeth out and whatnot.
Nat Love kills Rufus, and our movie's basically over at that point. The issue has been resolved, and that's the harder they fall. Like I said,
There's probably another 45 minutes.
I will
but...
say,
No, there's not.
No,
I would
there's
say-
not. But the way it's paced and drags, like
Okay, what?
we're-
There's a 15-minute scene where we see a tombstone of somebody, and they're all standing outside the tombstone. Like, this is all not important shit.
Basically, we discovered that Cuffy was a great character too.
Right.
Cuffy was the basically the doorman at Stagecoach Mary's club.
Yeah.
And she whooped ass.
door, ma'am.
Doorman.
Well, I don't think she would want to be called a doorman.
Yeah, because
She's
clearly-
kind of our androgynous character.
Yeah, and she was great. She filled that role perfectly. She was so good.
Because she hated having that dress on.
Yeah,
At the
she
end, she's
did-
just like,
she-
I don't want to hear that westerns are non-inclusive, because like this one, she might as well be your placeholder for a non-binary.
yeah.
Okay,
Try
no,
and
no,
transgender
no.
or
Back
something
up a bit. This is a 2021 movie written and directed by a black dude. Don't tell me that westerns are traditional or not, inclusive. Like
This
I felt
one
this
is.
one was
Cuffy-
inclusive.
Yeah,
the historical Cuffy was probably, if there was a historical Cuffy, probably was not quite like
how we see it.
Yeah,
in the
as we
movie.
see it. But I digress. It was a fantastic job. That actress that played her was great, and her overall performance is awesome. But she had an important little bit at the very end with the send off. And
Oh
like,
yeah, what, she became a sheriff?
yeah,
or
basically
some shit.
said that she was leaving that life behind and all that stuff.
You guys are talking to me like I cut out the last 40 minutes of the movie, and now you're literally clawing at more content like there was more of the movie.
There's so much this shit
But wait.
because so much of the movie is kind of empty.
Yeah,
I mean, not.
it's either people sitting in a saloon talking, or it's a shootout.
It's a lot of dialogue. It's very Tarantino, like you said, Tarantino. It's a lot of dialogue and all that.
But I felt like it still followed the traditional Western template,
It did, 100%.
Sure.
I'll agree with that.
which is either talks on the prairie, talks on the cliffside, or talks in the saloon. And it's always broken up with a musical sting or hashtag shots fired.
Yeah. Fair.
Yeah.
So, final thoughts for me on this one. I enjoyed the movie. Like I said, the music pulled me out. I would have enjoyed it more if there was just like an original Western score. But that's just me. I was going into this being like, oh, I'm going to watch a Western. Okay. And it was like not necessarily what I was preparing myself for.
Yeah, it's definitely a much more modern Western. Like,
Yeah.
had a little bit of like
It was quirky. It was
Yeah.
like there was too much modern stuff thrown in there for me.
But I liked. It's obviously not the most historically accurate
Right.
retelling of a Western story, but it was fantastic and entertaining.
Look,
The
if I want accuracy on black culture, I'll just watch Black Panther Wakanda Forever, okay? That's where I get my information from, and I'm pretty sure that's culturally accurate.
Pretty sure, yeah. It doesn't get much more than that. I will say that as far as the music was concerned, I share that kind of sentiment, but there were some standouts.
Yeah.
Like CeeLo Green's fucking song towards the end, I think it was like the Black Skin Mile.
Okay.
When Cherokee Bill got shot.
Is that the sequel to The Green Mile? No.
Well, boys, we still got more Westerns to watch. If Larry needs a traditional Western, I want to set him up with Once Upon a Time in the West.
Okay.
As the quintessential Western of all traditional Westerns.
Look, you guys,
I was gonna go with Good and the Bad and the Ugly, but I can go with that.
I tried putting The Good, Bad, and the Ugly on the other day, and the streaming was fucked up, so I wouldn't play it. So that was my shot.
Yeah.
I tried doing it.
It's Good and the Bad and the Ugly. I feel like, okay, you love music.
Yeah.
Ennio Morricone, who does the soundtracks for all of like Sergio Leone's westerns. Mm-hmm. He's fucking Nick. You get it, right?
His music makes the movies, and he also scored Once Upon a Time in the West, and like there's almost a whistly harmonica anthem that takes you through the whole movie.
His music is on a whole nother level, man. And he did the soundtrack for The Thing.
Okay.
So if you can get behind that, he's just on a completely different level. And if you can, once you watch one of the movies that he scored, one of the westerns, you're like, okay, I get it.
All right.
Westerns are, Larry, you're not wrong. Westerns are slow. They're boring. They're a dusty, long, slow burn.
But there's something there, man.
There's something there. And the music is like, it makes up for the beats that dialogue is not present.
All right. I'm done hearing about what you guys think about Westerns when neither of you have watched Evangelion. Okay, so you can fuck right off.
I've watched the end of Evangelion. I know how it ends.
No!
I think it's beautiful.
No. That's like me watching No Time to Die first. It ain't right. I did it, but it ain't right. What are your guys' final thoughts on this movie?
I'll give it probably a B+.
Okay.
It wasn't my favorite, but it was very entertaining. It had a lot of moments that was like, okay, it has great characters.
That's the thing for me. It's got cool characters.
Great characters, and the story was okay.
Yeah.
But I mean...
There's not much there. I explained it without even looking at anything.
Some of the music was hit or miss. But overall, yeah, probably B+.
Okay. How about you, Nick?
I thought it was, if we're going with an academic score, I'd go A- to B+.
You guys are killing
excellent
me.
modern Western, and I felt like the modern music made it more appealing for a more modern audience. Although I do understand why it took you out, but I thought they did a good job of blending the traditional with like the new style.
You're giving this an A- as a movie?
Yeah.
As an everyday movie?
I liked it.
This is C+ material.
Oh, well, okay, but
I'm classifying it not as a movie, but as a Western movie specifically. I'm grading it in genre.
There's old men that are rolling over in their graves. And just as a movie, this is a rookie movie. This is an amateur movie.
And I take that into consideration, and I think that even with that, I hold it in higher regard than, say, House of a Thousand Corpses, which is also a rookie movie. But it doesn't hold up as well, I would feel like.
Well, yeah, House of a Thousand Corpses doesn't hold up well.
No,
I love House, but it's more for a new age, like e-girl goth community.
Exactly, it's a kid movie, basically.
Well, it was great for us when we were young in the early 2000s, excluding James because he's old as fuck.
I'm old as
I can't believe you guys are giving this score or such a high score. Like I said, to me, this is C+ material as a movie, just because it's very amateur-y.
It is amateur-y, but
he did his homework. Because amateur, as much as you want to talk, he knew where to follow the tropes of Western cinematography, and he added to it.
But it's not hard.
It's Okay,
You absorb enough of any genre, and no, it's not hard.
This
We
is
could
like-
make a garbage sci-fi. Let's get Lance Henriksen on the phone. Let's get Klaus
What's that Tom
Nomi.
Cruise
Oh wait,
sci-fi movie?
we need.
Nick, what's that Tom Cruise sci-fi movie with the robot suits?
I know what you're talking.
Oblivion?
Edge of Tomorrow.
Edge of Tomorrow? That's like saying Edge of Tomorrow is an A- sci-fi movie.
Okay, I'll give it.
We're comparing it to... There is so many Westerns, and even though I don't like them, that are in like the top 100 greatest films of all time.
I would say that Edge of Tomorrow, for entertainment value, for sci-fi spectacle, and just what I expect out of a sci-fi movie, I give Edge of Tomorrow a C+, but with a hard plus.
It's still a plus. There's no harder plus. It's just a plus.
It's mid C+, B-. It's not great, but it checks all the boxes, and sometimes that's all you need.
You guys need to be stricter. You guys need to be more pessimistic about
We
everything.
need to be uglier. Is that what you're
I
saying?
need to get meaner co-hosts on this show.
I think we found.
I don't
want
to be considered the ugly.
I am
Please
the
make
bad.
it. I'll be good. I'll be bad, but don't make me ugly. You see this hair?
I'll be the ugly.
This hair? This is not ugly.
Well, your
Well,
hat's inside out, so
hat is
yeah,
inside
you look like an idiot right now, James.
Ugly. But it's got a nice umber
That
gradient.
earned you
It is
the
kind of
ugly.
nice umber. Yeah, it's. I'm not ugly anymore, Larry.
Yeah, well,
He's got
I'll
umber
tell
on
you-
his
tell you
side.
what.
So that's our final thoughts on The Harder They Fall. Like I said, it is on Netflix now. It is a 2021 release. Even though I talked shit about it for the majority of this review, I think it's still worth a watch. It was fun. I'm just nitpicking. And if you're listening to these two guys, you're going to get your hopes up and then you're disappointed. No, I'm just kidding. I'm totally joking.
I think it's probably worthy of a B plus B if you're not in.
I think B. I mean,
If we could get every one of my ex-girlfriends in the chat or leave a comment right now, I think they would agree with you, Larry, that I'm just signing them up for disappointment.